Hey guys, Joe DeMarco from the Crazy New York Driver Show. Today is Friday, March 25th, 2016. Welcome to another eBay video where we are going to discuss this week's eBay events, and hopefully you guys will learn something and find some interesting tidbits in this video. We're going to discuss today the following things: some dead items that have come back to life, an interesting post office story involving yours truly, some incorrect information from customer service representatives, more about cancels and returns, lowball offers, and a few other things, including your comments from last week's video. I would like to start off by saying that yesterday, Thursday, I put up a quick little video about my hubcap collection. In case any of you guys would like to check it out, that would be great. I might put a link to that below, but I'm not sure because I want to put a link to something else, which you'll hear about really soon. I read your comments regarding last week's video about returns and cancellations and such things, and a few of you guys have also had what somebody termed as a ghost return. One of you guys last week, and I'm sorry I don't have the name on the tip of my tongue, coined the term ghost return for when people violate eBay procedure and send you back your item without contacting you through eBay or even through your email or your telephone. I told you guys last week about a story I had where a guy sent back a rather expensive item, never contacted me at all. Well, I'm happy to report he has since contacted me. He called me up and he told me that he made a mistake and he purchased the wrong size. I said, "Sir, I have no problem giving you your money back. That's not an issue. But you cannot take it upon yourself to send things back like this. You have to do it through eBay or at least contact the seller." And of course, he blamed his girlfriend. He said his girlfriend was supposed to contact me, but she never did. That's not a valid excuse. The person who makes the purchase should initiate the return. But anyway, it all worked out. I gave him his money back, and that's that. At least I found out who it was, and yes, he admitted to buying the wrong size. I also had 2 more returns this week and 1 cancellation I'd like to discuss really quickly. I sold an item the other day. So I heard cha-ching on my iPhone. So I said, okay, cool, something just sold. I grabbed the iPhone, look at the item that sold, and that quick, the guy requested a cancellation. I'm talking, guys, 10 seconds, if that. I don't know what prompted this guy to request a cancellation after 10 seconds. But anyway, that was a non-issue because obviously I hadn't shipped it or even processed it. So I just gave him his money back and walked away from that deal. I had 2 more returns, and the reason for the return was the person thought they were getting 4 pieces, not just 1. So this woman calls me up and says, "Well, I thought we were getting all 4, not just 1. I said, "Well, the good news is you don't have to worry. If you want to send it back, I'll give you your money back. But I would like you right now to tell me, please, there's 1 item in the picture. The title, the very first word in the title says 1, and the description says 1. Could you please tell me what led you to believe you were getting more than 1? And she says, "Well, I didn't purchase it, my husband did." This is a common thing I've been noticing. The person who purchases it never contacts me. They always say it was their boyfriend, girlfriend, dog, best friend, or whatever that purchased the item. Never do they take responsibility for making the mistake. I mean, hey, mistakes happen, but I just want to know what's leading somebody to think that. This has been an ongoing problem for some time, and luckily it has petered out quite a bit. But occasionally, this still does crop up again. So I'm very interested to know their thinking behind this, but I've yet to actually talk to someone who will admit to actually making the blunder. Speaking about blunders, I want to tell you guys a post office story. As you probably know, some of you guys have had problems getting your items scanned at the post office. Mainly guys in California and Florida. I have never had a problem. To this day, I've never had a problem. I go to my local post office every day. They're happy to scan them, no problems. So on Monday, the Monday that just passed, I had about, I think 15 boxes I brought to my local post office on the way to work. They scanned them in, no problems, and I left. From there, I went to work, and I had one more box at work that I had to pack. A shipping order from the weekend. So I packed it up, and I had to make some errands. But my errands were taking me a different way. So I didn't go to my usual post office. I went to one of my backup post offices, where I'm known, but just not as well known as my home post office. I go in with this one box with a prepaid label, and there's a line out the door. There had to be 8 or 9 people. Now guys, any of you guys who listen to eBay radio know Griff says there is no need for anyone to stand on a line like that. You can drop your boxes and you can leave. As long as they get scanned in at some point, you'll be fine. So I see this long line. I hear Griff in my mind saying don't wait on the line, and I'm not going to wait on it anyway because I don't have that kind of time. So I said to this sole worker behind the counter, who I happen to know, I said, listen, I'm going to drop this box. It's already paid, and I'm going to leave. He says, oh no, no way. He says, that's not allowed anymore. You cannot just drop your boxes and leave, even if they had a prepaid label. You have to wait on the line. Now, I never heard of this. I said to him, are you sure? He says, yes, that's a new rule they came up with. Now, I know there's no such rule, but there was maybe a 1/10 of 1% chance that he was right. So I held my temper in check while everybody's gawking at me. I decided, well, I'm stuck here, I might as well wait. So I had to wait about 12 to 15 minutes. I get up to the counter, he scans it in. I said, are you sure about this? Because I'm going to do some checking. He said, yes, it's something they just started. Of course, there is no such rule. When I got back to work, I jumped onto the Facebook groups and I created a post in one of them, and I asked everybody if they knew anything about it. And of course, they all said absolutely not. He's mistaken. Then I went back to my home post office and I asked them, and they said he was mistaken. So I just figured I'd tell you guys that little story. Have any of you guys ever tried to drop your boxes at your post office and been told you couldn't do so? This really didn't set right with me. I'm thinking about pursuing this by making some kind of a complaint. I'd like your opinion on this, guys. What do you feel about this? The next thing I'd like to discuss, if I may, is a funny lowball office story. One thing a lot of you guys, I know you guys get pissed off when you get unusually lowball offers. I don't get pissed off. Sometimes I think I can work with the guy, sometimes not. So I had one the other day. I had a guy from Washington State, which is one of the most expensive states to ship to it from the East Coast, shoot me a lowball offer of less than half of what I wanted for my item. So I wrote back to him. I said, no sir, I'm sorry, I can't go that low because the post office raised its rates. I'm paying for the shipping, plus I have to pay eBay fees and PayPal fees. All right? So within a few minutes, he writes back to me, and he increases the offer by like $2 or $3. Of course, that's not going to do it. So I decided to try a novel approach. On a whim, I searched eBay for the same item that I was selling. And don't you know, I found one. It wasn't as nice as mine. It was quite beat up. It had a lot of scratches and dents in it, but it was a lot cheaper than mine. So I copied and pasted the link into a message to this lowball offer guy. I said to him, I'm sorry, I can't go that low, but I found one from another seller right here on eBay. So check this one out. I sent him the link to the other guy's thing, and he thanked me. The guy wrote back to me again and thanked me, and I imagine he bought it from the other guy. So everybody wins on this deal. All right? My item's in very good condition. My hubcap was in excellent condition. The one he got, or was looking at, from the other seller was in poor condition, but it was a lot cheaper. And if that makes him happy, it got him off my back too. I thought that was kind of an interesting approach to dealing with a lowball offer in a case where I felt I could not make the deal. Next, I would like to discuss dead items coming back to life. This is something that has happened to me over the last few months repeatedly. Let's say I have an item listed for about a year on eBay and nobody's buying it. I mean, I can't give this thing away, okay? Through a freak of nature, somebody buys one. Bang. Hey, I sell one. Right. I box it up and I send it off. Within 8 hours, another one sells. The next day, a third one sells. Keep in mind, this is an item that hasn't seen any action in over a year, and now I sell 3 of them in a span of 2 days. I firmly believe that when your item sells on eBay, whether it's popular or not popular, you get a super boost in search. I have felt that way for a long time, but I really wanted to enunciate it to you today and show you guys this example, and I'm wondering if any of you guys have enjoyed the same success. How many of you guys listened to eBay radio yesterday, which was Thursday? I know I did, because I always do. But a lady called in with a really interesting story about incorrect customer service information that she was given from eBay. Let me tell you what happened. This is important. I want you guys to listen, and if I get time, I'm going to drop a link to yesterday's eBay radio segment in so you can hear what this lady had to say. So she called into Griff, and she said, Griff, I got an eBay customer service story for you that's going to blow your mind. I want you to sit down. So he says, okay, I'm seated. Tell me the story. So the lady went on to say that she was a seller on eBay and had encountered a problem with a difficult buyer. Somebody had bought her item, a problem had arisen with the item, and the buyer had in some way violated eBay policy. Now I can't remember exactly what the situation was. I was at work, I was listening with one ear and working at the same time on shipping. So I don't recall what it was. I'm not even sure. I think the buyer may have negged the seller wrongly, okay? That's what I think happened. But again, if you listen to the eBay radio segment, which I'll link to, you'll clarify it. So anyway, the seller felt, and rightly so, that she was wronged. This buyer had violated eBay policy in some way and dicked her over. So she called customer service either to get the neg removed or to get some kind of satisfaction. So the customer service representative said to the lady, why don't you leave her bad feedback? So the lady said, I'm a seller. eBay sellers cannot leave negative feedback for bad buyers. So the customer service representative said, well, no, you can't. However, you can leave a negative comment as a positive rating. Now, anybody that's a long-time eBay member or even a short-time eBay member should know that is against eBay policy. You cannot leave a negative comment for a buyer, such as, this is a bad buyer, he tried to scam me. You cannot do that. It violates eBay policy and you can get into some hot water. Yet, here was an eBay customer service representative telling an eBay seller to do just that. So the seller knew that the customer service rep was wrong, and she said to her, could I have your name, please? I want your name to verify you've actually given me this information. And the CS representative gave her name and was adamant and stood by what she said. So this seller, as I said, called into eBay radio yesterday, talked to Griff, and Griff was astounded. He asked the lady to send him some screenshots of her communication and eBay messages. and that he was going to pursue it on his end with the team, the customer service team. While this story itself is unique, I'm sure some of you have received incorrect information from customer service reps. I have myself. I'm not sure what the answer is here. There are several things eBay could do. Obviously, some of the customer service reps need to be taught. They don't fully understand eBay. They may not even sell on eBay. I don't know. But what do you guys think? They definitely need some tutelage. I'm not saying they're all bad. Most of them aren't. But there are a few that have been disseminating misinformation. And that's what I'm discussing here. If this seller had followed the advice given by the customer service rep, she could be in some pretty hot water now with her account. And that is unacceptable, period. What do you guys think? Comment below, please. Basically, that's all I want to discuss on this week's video. Again, what I would like you guys to mainly address is, have you been given any incorrect information by customer service reps? If so, describe it below. Number 2, have you ever gone to the post office, tried to drop off your boxes and been rebuffed? This is the first time it has ever happened to me. Has it happened to you? If so, describe it below. And also tell me, in your opinion, what you think I should do, if anything. Because I still haven't done anything except talk about this. If you've had any unusual cancels or returns, please describe them below. Also, how were your eBay sales this past week? Were you slow? Were you good? Were you very good? My sales were very good. Very happy again this week. It seems as though the community is somewhat divided as to sales. So it depends what category you're selling in. I know some of you guys are doing really well, and some of you guys are complaining you're selling very little, if anything. For instance, I'm in eBay Motors, and I'm doing very well in that category. But the downside to selling on eBay Motors is you get an awful lot of returns. I do believe that most people who sell on eBay Motors, while they make a lot of money, do get an unusual amount of returns, because I've talked to some of you who do. Okay? There are other categories that do well and some that do not do well. I also sell in other categories, in case you guys don't know that. For instance, music is one. I sell cassettes. That category is dead. Dead for me. Yet, I know other people in some of the thrifting groups who do great with cassettes. I think the key is you have to have certain type limited edition music that's hard to get, that's out of production, and I just have some everyday cassettes of my own from the 80s that I'm trying to unload. I think that might be the problem. But if you guys want to comment your category, and if you're doing well or if you're doing poorly, that'd be great. I'm Crazy New York Driver, you're not. Thanks for watching. By the way, I forgot to mention this, it's cloudy out once again. We don't get any sun in the Northeast. They had predicted it was going to rain all day, but yet I haven't seen a drop so far yet. So we'll see how it goes. Anyway, rock on, make some eBay sales, and I'll see you guys right here next week on the Crazy New York Driver Show. See ya. Peace!